Apex has a habit of teasing legends for years before finally releasing them, and we believe in 2025 they're still doing the same. So which future legends are Respawn teasing right now? And if you're not aware, they've been doing this for years. For example, back in Season 4, Respawn released the really popular reactive flatline skins in the Season 4 Battle Pass, which both had this weird little logo on them. In the next season, this logo would keep appearing until it fully made sense with the release of Rampart in Season 6. Obviously, this was Rampart's logo. And also, Seer was teased really early on, as at the end of Season 8, we spotted this spray paint in a teaser for Arenas. And then 2 seasons later, Seer was released to the game and it was revealed this was his logo. And more recently, in Season 22, Respawn released the Serpent Sting Heirloom, which had this little logo, which didn't make much sense to us until Season 25, when Respawn released Sparrow, who had this logo on his shoulder. So it seems the chance that Respawn have already teased the next legend to us is pretty high. And I have gathered what I call the Big Four, what I believe to be the 4 most likely legends to come to the game in the future. And let's start off with a big one, Blisk. Yes, the guy from Titanfall. And hear me out for a second, because there's actually a lot of evidence pointing towards his potential return as a legend. Believe it or not, Respawn have actually tried to release Blisk as a legend into the game twice in the past, but obviously both of these concepts were scrapped and he never became a legend, unfortunately. But because of some recent movings in the Apex lore, it seems he might be gearing up to potentially finally come, which could be absolutely awesome. So why is this? Well, before Season 24, Blisk's last appearance in any Apex related lore was on May the 4th, 2021, in the Season 9 North Star Story from the Outlands trailer, where he recruited Valkyrie. And after this trailer, he pretty much dropped off the face of Apex lore, and didn't reappear in any Apex lore at all until February 2025. Literally a 4-year gap, where he finally returned in a small scene in the Takeover Anthem trailer. So, why did he disappear for 4 years and reappear like it was nothing? Well, it's because Respawn had plans for Blisk. They were developing a game codenamed Titanfall Legends, which was essentially going to be a single-player game with Titanfall and Apex elements in one. And in this game, you would play as Blisk. So, because this game was in development and Blisk was going to be a main character in the story, Blisk had to essentially be taken out of Apex lore to prevent timelines from getting convoluted. Because obviously, if Blisk showed up in Season 21 of Apex, and then also this Titanfall Legends game was set in Season 21, it would just cause a bit of a story error, so he was removed from the game's lore to make sure that wouldn't happen. Seemingly, the only tie-in between Titanfall Legends and Apex Legends was this voice message from Blisk in Rampart's town takeover.
Medic, you know who this is, eh? I'm calling about the custom order. Well, I said you owe me. I'll be in touch.
Where he asks Rampart to make him a special order, which was probably going to be BT's chassis repaired. But obviously this teaser never went anywhere because Titanfall Legends was cancelled. The cancellation was announced in February of 2023, and because it got cancelled, Blisk was essentially taken out of the game's lore for no reason. He had nothing to show for it, and it was clear the developers didn't really know how to explain why Blisk had left the lore after Titanfall Legends got cancelled, as when one of the developers of Apex was asked, "Where's Blisk?" he replied, to expand on this, once Blisk recruited Valk, he decided to explore the frontier for life outside of the games, except he forgot his pilot helmet on Kings Canyon and didn't realise he left his debit card at the bar on World's Edge, so he's currently lost in space, which is clearly referencing Respawn having plans for him, which completely fell through. But his reappearance in some recent Apex trailers does show that Respawn are keen to get him back in Apex lore, and considering that they tried to make him a legend twice before they started work on Titanfall Legends, does give me hope that they might give it another try to make him a legend and maybe bring some Titanfall fans back to Apex. Also, I'd like to point out something cool about Blisk. I'm pretty sure this right here is concept art for Titanfall Legends, because this map update, which added this art to the museum in World's Edge, was added while Titanfall Legends was in development and Blisk was removed from the game. So unless they've just made a one-off piece of art for Blisk, this could have well been associated with Titanfall Legends and sneakily put into Apex to fill in the blanks. Still, clearly there's a plan for Blisk. Let's see what it turns into. Although, in my opinion, there's a legend that's been teased for a while now that I think has a much larger possibility than Blisk to be added to Apex, and that is Vantage's mum. And I feel like Vantage's mum gets more popular by the day. Probably for one reason, she's way cooler than Vantage. If we look back to the launch trailer that announced Vantage, her mum is like leagues cooler than her, and it would be really cool to have kind of a hunting master to come to the game, and it would be pretty cool to have like a daughter-mother dynamic. Plus, Vantage's mum, once again, looks badass. And honestly, it feels like the whole point of Vantage's story in the game is to eventually bring her mum into the games, as her mum was falsely imprisoned, and the only reason Vantage joined the Apex games was to raise awareness of her mum's false imprisonment. And Respawn have not forgotten about her mum. They constantly bring her up in comics, and more recently, in the Serpent Sting heirloom, she made an appearance. And this appearance had a secret update. You see, originally, when you would swipe through the heirloom, it would say Vantage's mum is wanted. Like, she's out of prison and she's wanted, which led a lot of people to believe Respawn were starting to tease that Vantage's mum had broken out and would become a legend in the future, until we realised it was probably a mistake, because Respawn then secretly updated the heirloom again to make the heirloom say that Vantage's mum is in custody, so it seems like that was a bit of an oversight. We do also know that somewhere there's a concept art of Vantage's mum floating about. We've only seen a small cropped square of it through some concept art that Respawn released from the story from the Outlands featuring Vantage's mum, but hopefully one day we see the full concept art, and maybe that could be with her release. And also, let's not forget, Vantage's mum has a really popular voice actor who was voiced in Arcane and some very popular media, so it genuinely seems like the framework is set for Vantage's mum to become a legend. And we did originally think that Sparrow was going to be Vantage's mum, as when Sparrow was leaked, loads of people said, oh my god, this legend is the master of bows, and maybe it's Vantage's mum who has a bow related ability. But obviously we just ended up getting Sparrow. Here's to hoping, and I would honestly bet money that at one point in the future, Vantage's mum will come to the game. Another legend that has been theorized to come to the games, literally as early as Season 2 and 3, is Crypto's foster sister, Mila. Respawn have been teasing this character for so long. She has appeared in in-game teasers, in art, and more recently, she appeared in an in-game comic where she was working with the now deceased Eduardo Silva to secretly monitor Crypto and Loba. So not only is she kind of back in the lore in a big way, it seems she is working against someone who she once respected. And Mila would be a majorly interesting character to come to the games, because obviously she has a lot of history with Crypto being his foster sister, and maybe if she does have something against Crypto, which it seems like considering the fact that she's monitoring him, she could team up with someone like Caustic who hates Crypto and become a new evil character, because right now it feels like the only evil characters are Ash, Alter, Caustic, and Revenant. So maybe we could get a character who's like an enemy of my enemy is my friend. Mila is basically very similar to Crypto in that she has very good ability hacking, so if she did come to the game, she would most definitely have hacking abilities, and most likely be like a counter hacker to Crypto. It would be pretty interesting to have another character who's good at hacking and is essentially the evil counterpart of Crypto, and has pretty interesting lore with Crypto because she was once his foster sister. Between like Season 18 and Season 20, there was a lot of lore surrounding Mila, and it seemed that Respawn were going to bring her, and also we didn't truly understand whose side she was on, whether she was just working with Eduardo Silva under some sort of deal, or was genuinely against Crypto, but it seems this story has fallen off. Hopefully with Respawn picking up the lore lately, she will come back, and maybe come back as a legend, as she is a mysterious character, as we can theorize that she has something against Crypto, but who knows, maybe she was under some sort of secret deal and being forced by Eduardo, and now Eduardo's dead, she is kind of freelance, and no longer is forced to hate Crypto. It's very confusing, and honestly, this part of the story with Mila has always been very vague, and there's always been many theories, which is why it would be more than interesting if she came to the game and cleared up a lot of these misconceptions, and why she was plotting against Crypto. Speaking of plotting, there's another character a lot of people want to be a future legend and has been theorized to become a future legend for a long time. You see, in Season 6, in one of Rampart's introduction trailers, her shop was blown up by a character called Big Sister, who looked cool and was very mysterious. This character was the leader of a gang who had beef with Rampart, and basically Rampart's shop getting blown up by this gang pushed her to join the games, and Blisk took the opportunity to ask her to join the games in the moments after. Since the Big Sister character was introduced, everybody latched onto her actually. For ages, people were begging for Big Sister to become a legend. Respawn would continue to tease Big Sister, so they got the message, they knew people liked her, as when Rampart got her town takeover, there were several drawings of Big Sister on targets around Rampart's takeover, showing that Rampart was still holding a big grudge. For a while after that, we never heard much about her until Season 15, when Catalyst got introduced to the game. When Catalyst was introduced, she came with a trailer which explained her origin story, and in this trailer, her and a character called Margot went to blow up a Hammond resource extraction station, but unfortunately in the chaos, they ended up getting caught and her friend Margot got detained, and in the moment her friend Margot was being pulled away, Margot detonated the bomb, which seemingly partly hit her as well. After this scene, it does cut to Catalyst talking about the loss of Margot to Rampart. So because of this, and the fact that this animation here was set sometime in the past, a lot of people started to theorize that Margot actually became Big Sister after the explosion, as Big Sister wore a mask and had an injured eye, which definitely could have happened to Margot after the explosion. There's a pretty high chance this would definitely burn your face a bit and probably make you want to wear a mask. Also, Margot and Big Sister are both females with red hair as well. So a lot of people theorized after the explosion, Margot went into a bit of a crime spiral, started a gang, and eventually interacted with Rampart and burned down her shop. When Respawn were asked if Margot and Big Sister were the same person, they replied by saying, not no, but instead, no comment, which stoked the flames of theory crafting a lot more. Because what are the chances that Rampart has beef with a chick with red hair, and when Catalyst joins the games, she vents to Rampart about losing a friend in the past with red hair? I don't know, it seems like Respawn is setting something up, and they still do mention Big Sister in the story. In fact, the design of the Nemesis was stolen from Rampart and then released under Big Sister's name, which caused Big Sister to call and taunt Rampart about it, which majorly upset her. So this is another legend that Respawn have first of all leaned into the teasing of, and could well become a legend, and if she does, people would absolutely love it. These 4 legends, in my opinion, are the big 4, and I would bet at least one of these legends is going to come to the game in the next few years. And if you want to find out which legend it will be, subscribe, and also use code GRT on EA app or the EA web store when buying coins to support the channel. It helps.